Listeners and viewers, what an incredible delight for us. It feels a bit peculiar because you're not on another screen. But anyway, you're listening to Ammar and
Jalf.
live on our weekly radio show. Apologies for that slightly delay. And if you were tuned in already, you probably sat there thinking, um, I'm sure I just heard Ammar talking about something from 1964. And here he is now, dressed slightly differently, looking quite younger.
Dashing.
Yeah, quite younger in person. Anyway, Jaff, brother Jaff, who's always having a laugh, turned up here, and here we are. So, good morning, listeners. You're listening to Ammar and
Jalf.
live on our weekly radio show right here on Spice FM.
And each week we'll try and bring some views, news, and one or two clues from the business world.
Asian Business Connections aims to connect, support, and promote the Asian and wider communities.
And we'll be talking shop quite literally and not just corner shops, whether you look to start a business, have an existing business, or you just want to talk business, we can help.
We can't help. We can't help. And we do help. So let me just push some buttons. Apparently, I'm really good at pushing buttons. So I push all of the right buttons, as they say. But yeah, it's great to have you here, John. Yeah, I can touch you.
No, it's nice. It's nice to be in.
It's
remember the early days, Ammar, when we used to go to the Spice FM studio above the news agents on the Westgate Road.
pirate.
And then was never a pirate radio station, was
It felt like it.
it?
It was almost like that setup where it felt like a pirate radio show, didn't it? But yes, I do remember. And actually, when we first started, we were almost on the top floor of it.
Yeah, I think so.
And then they built a studio, and then we came downstairs, and then Spice FM was the first so first organization to sign up to the Beacon, where it's currently at.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you have to big up Sandeep for all his perseverance and the foresight when you think about how many years ago that was and how many years Spice FM was running before we even started our show. He's done an outstanding job for the community.
Oh, amazing. And he's the president of the Hindu temple.
What Sandeep is?
Yeah.
Just a young lad. He's too young for that role, isn't he?
How funny is that? But how amazing is that?
Oh, that's brilliant.
Isn't it? To think, well, I mean, obviously we're getting old a bit, Jeff. Yeah, as in thinking about old. Can you remember being like a kid? I still am one in my heart. But yeah, everyone was an uncle and an auntie, weren't they?
Yeah. I mean, you see, it's quite interesting that you said that. You're probably going to start making reference to the whole brother thing. When we're referring to people kind of who are maybe 20 years younger than us as a brother,
right.
And maybe we should be saying to them, referring to them as a nephew possibly, but that's still not happening. Or is it happening?
Well, I mean, I was horrified when someone started calling me uncle. I was like,
yeah,
what? Really? Yeah, hello, Uncle G. Yeah, now they're calling me granddad or whatever it is because I am. But yeah, it's the point around early on, right? When you're a kid, and when I define a kid, I'm probably thinking under 10, right? For argument's sake, under 10, 20-year-old is old. You can't wait to get there, type of thing. You can't wait to be 18. You can't wait to be 19. You can't wait to be 20. You can't wait to be 21. And it's interesting as you get to that age, when you're in your teens, like 30 and 40 are old people.
Yeah,
that's the age of your parents potentially, right? 40 odd or whatever it is, and that's like really old. And as you progress, and then gosh, Jeff, how long have you got left till you're hit 40?
Couple of years.
Have you? Yeah. We've still got another couple of years. How many? Two. Okay. Well, you're not far off then, anyway. You've only got one after next year.
Yeah.
is January, isn't it?
January, yeah.
So
So that's not quite two, is it? It's like a year.
it's just a year. That's
Yeah.
and it's funny when you hit like landmarks, right? I feel as if I missed out at times, right? I feel as if I like certain parts, and I don't feel any regret from it. I just feel as if I missed certain elements. So I had Yasmin when I was 22, so I was really really young, right? All of a sudden, I mean, gosh, I was just a kid, and all of a sudden I'm a parent,
Yeah.
and then I've had to like become a parent and do what parents do and whatever else. So all of that period where I should have been traveling the world and doing all of these things, I was trying my best to bring up my daughter. Anyway,
Well, it's everyone's got a story, and look, it's a matter of where you end up. And Alhamdulillah, I think you've had a wonderful life.
I'm
You're in a
not
great
complaining.
position.
I'm talking about missing out on things,
Everyone.
and the thing that I was recollecting was my 40th was meant to be this big, huge celebration. We were getting a band in the garden. We were like, it was all of these things that we'd sort of planned, um, and it didn't quite happen because our son was born 2 months premature, and I was blessed by him, and it's all these bloody kids interfering with my life. What's all that about?
That is life, Ammar.
Is it? Kids interfering with your life. Anyway, so we're back from outer space, and yeah, I think I believe Jalf was away. Jalf, you've been away to
Yes.
a couple of trips and
Yeah.
places and spaces. So tell us. Let's start with that, please.
Well, I just thought I'd take the opportunity to we went away to the UFC, which is the mixed martial arts in Abu Dhabi. Went away for a few days
Tell us about that.
to experience. I mean, look, I've always been into bit of boxing because I think everybody is because of the nature of it, and it's a big sport, isn't it, in our country?
Yeah.
But then more recently, just understanding mixed martial arts, which means that you can bring your different type of style to the ring. So you could be a boxer, and I could be a
Ninja.
grappler, or I could be into kickboxing or various different forms of the sport, and you go in and the best man wins, which I think is more entertaining, more challenging.
Right.
And it's become UFC has become huge. It's one of the fastest growing sports in the world. So went to that, experienced Abu Dhabi, and I was there for a few days, came back, and that was a great experience. And then I was lucky enough to get some tickets for the Newcastle Dortmund game away,
Right.
and just felt that.
How was that?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously a very historic occasion for the club. First time in 20 years. I think it's the first time ever that we've gone to Dortmund, which is obviously one of the great stadiums in the world. 82,000 fans a mile. You have this wall, it's called the Yellow Wall, which is 25,000 fans in one kind of part of the ground, and they're all jumping up and down. They've got all the drums going, and it's a very intimidating, it's very friendly, but a very intimidating atmosphere for the away fans because it's such a strong fan base that they've got. So, I mean, it was a great experience. Great that we're able to even do these journeys and go away to Germany and go to Dusseldorf, then Dortmund, and do that whole trip and experience another
And did
country.
you? I've never been to Germany.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
have you been?
well, that was the first time, Omar, that I went,
Right.
and it was very interesting. Naturally, we're always kind of going to do a bit of socio analysis in terms of the country, the setup, the type of people, and you have a perception. My perception of Germany was that it wasn't going to be as friendly towards ethnic minorities as the UK, because I think UK is the greatest nation on the planet when it comes to accommodating people from all various different cultures and A, B, C, and D. I'm not sure about this Suella at this moment in time. She's just doing a bit of nonsense, but other than that, I for the for the last.
I don't think she represents everyone.
Well, I think for the last, for our lifetime, certainly, Omar, we've had maybe some little snippets of issues, but broadly overall, we love the UK and what the UK stands for. And I just felt that the perception of Germany was slightly different to how appeasing the UK is to ethnic minorities.
Yeah.
But interestingly, as soon as I landed into Dortmund, I mean into Dusseldorf, and I mean even in the train station, the amount of ethnicities in Germany, I was very surprised by.
Really?
Yeah, there's lots of like Turks,
Every
lots of
colour.
blacks. There are lots of people.
Where did you
all
fly
different
into?
backgrounds.
Is it
Dusseldorf,
Dusseldorf?
which is quite a big city. So we did that, and I'm thinking, wow, this is interesting. So then, obviously, I wanted to get a feel for the culture, speak to one or two of the people that we came across, and it was really interesting, really interesting that we had that experience. And what was even more interesting, when we went to the grounds, everyone just saying, "Oh no, the Germans are really friendly." So when I was walking to the grounds with our scarves on, NUFC scarves on, not I didn't feel uncomfortable at any point at all. There was no forms of intimidation by any of their fans. They didn't look at us in a certain way, thinking, "Oh well," it was like I felt Germany as a experience in terms of the German people. I felt like really comfortable, and I felt that they were very friendly, nice people. Unfortunately, they outwitted us on the
Why
on
or
the
how
football
was it?
pitch. On the football, I think we've got a lot of injuries. We've got 7, 8 big players missing. So that's really affecting us at the moment.
Right. As in illness.
Just injuries, Amar.
Injuries.
A lot of injuries. A lot of big players are injured, and unfortunately, we can't go to Dortmund away without our kind of strongest team and be able to compete. So we did compete, but we weren't able to draw or win. So it's put us in a bit of a trouble in terms of the position because we're bottom of the Champions League table at the moment, but we're still not out. So hopefully we can turn it around somehow in the next couple of games that we have left. But overall, a great experience and
Worth going.
Worth going. Have to take your hats off to the club for putting us in that position and where we're able to go to Champions League games and make these trips. So yeah, that was great. And the Geordies, as always, represented in numbers, in big numbers. But the only thing, Amar, that was that I particularly didn't appreciate, and I'm sure the Geordie fans did though, you're actually allowed to drink on your seats.
Really?
Now imagine this.
Really?
So imagine this. Every couple of minutes, someone is getting up either to get some more rounds or go to the
toilet, obviously.
So you were sat down, but it's like every minute someone was getting up, and it was just a constant disturbance. And I could see there was a German fella, big boy. He's got these. He can carry a crate of 6 pints in your hand, and he's got 6 pints, and he's like just wobbling around the venue. And eventually, he fell on the stairs, and everyone gave him a big cheer. All 6 pints, yeah, all 6 pints were all over the floor on the stairs, and so I'm much happy with doing it how we do it at St James's Park. You drink at half time, nothing can be taken into the ground, and maybe it's a coffee, but no alcohol is allowed, and I think it works really well. It's the best of both. But over there, I think the culture is different because I love the beer.
They love the
beer. They have a beer called a Dortmunder. So imagine you're in Dortmund and you've got a beer business. What are you going to call it? Make the local Dortmunder beer, and I'm sure everyone's going to say, "Yeah, we want the Dortmunder."
What about that Asian who came here?
The Asian,
yeah, and he had Newcastle Brown.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Newcastle Brown Ale. Where do you think that came from? Anyway, so it's a good trip.
Yeah.
And how was the UFC? Did he win?
I mean, there was about 15 fights. So the ones that we were rooting for, they all won. So you have Habib, which is one of the biggest names.
He's been to your restaurant.
Not no, we've met him.
All right.
Met him in Leeds. So he's got another friend who his father trained. He's called Islam.
Right.
His father trained him, but his father sadly passed away a few years ago, and he said that, look, my dream is for him to be a champion. So Habib basically fulfilled his father's legacy,
Yeah, really.
made sure that Islam was the champion. And if you imagine two people from the same gym coming and becoming the champion in the same weight in the world stage, is kind of something that's never happened before.
Mm.
But the level of um fierceness and brutality that you see when you see some of the world's most dangerous men in an island which is called Fight Island, they call it. They all land from all over the world. It's a sight to behold.
Really?
Yeah. So I believe, Ammar, you've been away yourself.
I have. I've got
Yeah.
some pictures from my holiday snaps to share. Also as a prompt. So let me do this, and let's start at the beginning. So this is the beginning of the end. And what I mean by that is I was fortunate enough to be invited across to Saudi. I'd been asked several times by our business partner, Ali, from Saudi Business Links. And this is a very small proportion of the pictures from the actual visit. But so I was asked come across, and just to provide some context and content. Um, we're setting up a trade center at Newcastle Airport, and it's the first international trade center of its kind in the world. The top floor is for inward investment. So as people fly in, they give them a bit of space, they acclimatize, they set the business, they get all of the support that they need. And the ground floor is for local regional businesses who want to discover the world, because one of the biggest growth enablers is internationalization, so growing your marketplace. So been developing this relationship with Ali. Ali's been here several times, and he kept on saying to me, if you're serious about this partnership, you're going to have to come out to Saudi. And I was like, I don't have the time to go to wherever, never mind jumping a plane to Saudi. Anyway, it was Global Health exhibition. So the second largest health exhibition in the world. And Ali was sponsoring it. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go, because it aligns with a lot of the health activities that we're doing generally. And I want to go and see it. So I managed to free some time up. Other people were flying in from Houston, one of the top authorities from UCLA in Houston, and her colleague who lives in Dubai, and then a couple of doctors from Birmingham were flying out, and then there was me. And there was a couple of other people that we met on the way, and I flew out there. So I left here on the Thursday because the flight from here was a better flight and I wanted to fly out and get there for a weekend.
Well, you went from Newcastle to
Yeah, so originally I looked at so they were flying from London, right? So I looked, do I fly down to London? And they were flying on the Friday, like night type of thing, that was leaving Friday, gets there whatever time. And I was like, I'll need to find somewhere to stay over. Looked at the costs, and it was just like, it was just really silly.
Mm.
And then I looked at Emirates. Emirates, great airline, flies from Newcastle. And I booked that, and it was great. So I flew out from here. The only downside to it was the stopover was 6 hours on the way out and 9 hours on the way back.
Ooh, in the hotel, in the airport.
In the airport. Yeah, fortunate to be able to sort of get in somewhere, but not like, it's still 9 hours, right? And it wasn't a hotel I was in. And so it was bloody exhausting. Anyway, gets there, and it's a Friday, it's Juma, and they treat, one of the things I love about Sundays was they were holy and they were precious when we were growing up. Everyone was off.
Yeah.
No shops were open. Right? Yeah. We went to Sunday school until Mum found out it was religious, and then weren't allowed to go. Right? But um, it was really, really special. The whole country was behind that. Um, so so we done that, and thank you, and um, we went. So got there Friday, and everything was closed, and I was like, okay, I want to go and explore. So I met someone who'd won an award, maybe
Okay.
out there, who was at a different conference.
All right.
So I met him. Do you know what it is? I totally forgot that I'd met him. Like I said, that's how busy it has been, but I was just remembering what I was doing. And then um, and then I then met up with Ali on the evening and just sort of chilled out a bit.
So was Jummah very big then, Ammar?
Jummah's like huge, as in everything's closed. Everyone concentrates on the family, and everyone stays up on the Thursday night and the Friday night. So their weekend is Fridays and Saturdays, and they treat it like a proper weekend. They stay up all night, spend the time with the family and friends. So it was quite relaxed on the Friday for me.
No business is getting done.
No, nothing's happening.
Friday.
Nothing's happening. So I just went and looked around, went met with Woodzona, and then and Saturday I decided to go and explore
Which city were you?
Riyadh.
Riyadh.
Riyadh. So I was in
So Riyadh's the capital.
Riyadh's the capital.
Yeah.
And I went to explore. I Ali came and seen us, and then I sort of said, "Do you know what? I'm just going to go and explore by myself. Give me some tips." He's going, "Go here, go there," and I went to the foundations of Saudi, the foundations of Riyadh, because they over the last 2 years they've invested in tourism type of places and spaces and things like that. So all of a sudden, I went to this. Gosh, I must remember and get my Arabic lessons done. But in essence, it was. Let's have a look. It was called. Basically, it goes back to 400 AD, where it was an oasis type of place in space, and it was called Bujari Salat at-Tariyaf, right? And it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site,
right?
And it's just incredible, right? The galleries, the museums, you see all of the history and the historical nature, beautiful. But there's a terrace as you're walking up to it with the best restaurants like in the world. And what you do is you book your ticket and you can use the money off the ticket into a restaurant. So, and normally you have to book a restaurant to get access or whatever. So it's an economic, sort of it's a great mechanism. And I had the best ever French meal. Well, it was a cheese sandwich with turkey ham, as in with fries and whatever else and green tea. Anyway, great experience. Looked around, and
so I'm sorry. When you say it's a heritage site, so is there all parts of history there? That's
the history of Saudi and Al Saud, and that was the foundation.
So the Al Saud family, that's where they
originated from. This is their historical base.
Right.
It also makes reference to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and things like that. As in, it talks about the religious influences, the cultural influences, and everything else. Anyway, beautiful place, incredible. And then on the Saturday, I'm sat there and I'm like, wow, the Tyson Fury fight's on. So I make a couple of phone calls and end up getting some tickets for the Tyson Fury. And it's Uber, right? Everyone's got Uber. So it's like jumping in an Uber. All right, got there, and I'm doing all of this by myself. Like this is, and I've got to admit to everyone publicly, I was a bit anxious, going to a new country. You don't really know what to expect. You've heard all of these stories. There's Chop Chop Square where they chop people up and all of that type of thing and whatever else. Anyway, honestly, hand on my heart, it's one of the best places in the world from tourism perspective, from experience. They built a stadium in 3 months where this fight was taking place.
It's just ridiculous,
right? So anyway, that was was there, and then on the Sunday it's a working day, so that was the start of the exhibition. Went to the exhibition, met with so many health organizations. So the pictures that you see here are this one here is they've got like data analytics. They've got some of the best places and spaces and knowledge in the world. They've got the best of everything. And a great story. So this is just lots of different pictures of me. I went up to Tabuk. So I spent 5 days in Riyadh and then flew up to Tabuk. And Tabuk is where they're building this Neom, the line,
the new city.
The new city.
So the line is in Neom as well.
Yeah, everything's next to each other. Okay. So they're all relative on the Red Sea, on the top right. 30 miles away from Israel, Jerusalem is where I was. Traveling out 600 kilometers one way, 600 kilometers back, 2 days on the trot. It was.
And the roads
7 a.m. Oh, amazing. Yeah. 7 a.m. I was getting picked up and I was getting dropped off after 12 every single day for 10 days. I have never been as exhausted ever. It was the most hardest thing. Couple of funny stories. So, this is us meeting with various people. This is Alfiota. They want to come over here. One of they do AI. They've got the best of the best of the best. But they don't know how. So they've asked immediately. It was like, oh, Mark, can you come and deliver some workshops? Oh, Mark, can you come and support us with this? Oh, Mark, as in everyone everywhere was like, we love what you do, and how can you come and share that knowledge and experience, because we're working with the best universities, but they don't have that practical experience and expertise that you've done. So anyway, I've invited everyone here, and everyone's on their way. Couple of funny stories. So on the Monday night, they had a British delegation of 16 companies from the UK, and they went to the British Embassy. And this is me at the British Embassy. And a really, really funny story is, so I met Ministry of Health, Ministry of Investment, you name it. We met with them. This guy is in charge of NEOM, this guy, Vision 2030.
It's not very long, is it? 7 years.
So look, I even took an official Geordie passport. So really, really funny story. These guys were from Australia, setting up the Australian government. Obviously, that's me and Barry McGuigan. Ringside.
Cool guy.
Yeah.
Legend Barry.
He was. And we get to the British Embassy, and the trade advisor, and then the ambassador does a speech, right? And before I got there, I'd taken some of these signs, St. James's Park, NE1 signs, and I had it in the car with Ali, and me and Ali are going to the embassy, and I go to Ali, I think I'll give this to the ambassador, and he goes, oh, sorry, that was for you. I don't know what happened there. So the I'm taking the sign in, right? And Ali goes, oh, well, if you were going to take a sign in, then wouldn't it? I would have liked to have given my sign I would have liked to have given, something of mine. And I was like, all right.
Well, you can say that.
So I didn't take the sign in,
Uh-huh.
basically, right? Consequently, I didn't take the sign in. And then and 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 anyway, he does the speech. He's going, oh yeah, it's great that we've got this relationship with Newcastle, but if anyone wants to buy Sunderland, come and have a word, right? That's what he says. And then finishes the speech. We go over to talk to him, say hello, because he's expecting us. And I go, oh yeah. And I can't explicitly remember what I say, but I go something like, all right, well, avid Newcastle fan. Are you a Sunderland supporter then? And he's like, yeah. And immediately,
Really?
he was like, the whole conversation, the temperament, everything just went like that. And he was a staunch Sunderland fan to the point where
the guy in the embassy,
our UK ambassador to Saudi is
Yeah.
a Sunderland supporter, right? And I was like chuckling. Anyway, he chilled a little bit and cooled and whatever it is, but it was like as if I'd sworn at him when I said, "Oh yeah, we're staunch Newcastle fans." He's like, "Well, I'm a Sunderland one," and I was laughing because I was thinking, if I'd taken this side, imagine he would have took it off us and hit us over the head with it, right? Because and then afterwards, I was thinking, he's our ambassador.
Yeah.
Obviously,
with a Newcastle flag. Yeah.
Right? Diplomacy goes out the window if you're a football fan. Well, it shouldn't, should it?
Well, it should.
All right. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So, and then I was laughing. Imagine when the PIF are talking to him.
Yeah.
And he's like, and they're talking about Newcastle. Anyway, yeah, incredible experience. Met so many people. So this picture here was invited to. This is one of the big families. There's about 140 families, and they all talk. They don't talk millions. They're like, oh yeah, our £5 billion tower project is going to be the tallest tower in Saudi.
That's how they still eat.
Yeah,
sit
on the floor,
and the food's in the middle.
And food's in the
just
middle,
go,
and they use the hands, and everyone sits and eats like that. Yeah.
And they have like a big
lamb. That's a big lamb, freshly cooked with all the rice. People bring it, and obviously that's me uncomfortable, sat there. But what an experience! And they're coming over in 2 weeks' time, and they're sat there. Oh yeah, we've got that £1 billion project. We've got this £1 billion project there. Oh yeah, we want to come and tell us what you've got in Newcastle. And every single organisation we spoke to said, "We're coming. Tell us when you want us to come." And they're all coming, like genuinely, to look at opportunities and invest. And for businesses here in the UK, the opportunities are incredible. But a word of caution, because I know lots of organisations here who have been talking to Saudi, developing relationships. Oh yeah, we're going to take a trade mission. Oh yeah, we're going to do that. Without a local partner, without an ally on the ground, you're not going to get anywhere fast. And the trade missions are trade missions, great. They'll have some conversations. They'll take a long time to develop. All of these ministers, all of these ministers were quite explicit in going, listen, we want to help everyone. All of our departments are ready to help. But if you use the standard channels of signing, registering, it's going to take you a long time. If you've got a local partner, you'll accelerate and you'll navigate. So we've got an exclusive partnership with Saudi Business Links. And it's the same thing this way, right? Of course, we've got great agencies. Of course, we've got councils. Of course, we've got that. But I know that I can cut through all of the red tape and just get stuff happen. So that's why they're using us. That's why they want to use me. That's the partnership. So we're going to be bringing lots of people here, lots of opportunities. If you're interested in looking at Saudi as a marketplace, reach out. And if you have anything that you'd like to showcase or share that requires some level of investment, please reach out. But yeah, incredible experience. This guy here was a real Indiana Jones. He found 30 years ago, a mosque, a tomb. There's loads of tombs in Saudi that they haven't
Right.
discovered.
Okay.
So many tombs,
Uh-huh.
so many artifacts. And he had found that, and he now runs the National Museum as well. This guy, and some of the stories. So Ministry of Investment. We had private presentations. We went to big places, spaces, you name it. It was all happening in Saudi. This is PIF's building here.
That's a main headquarters,
Yeah,
is it?
it is incredible. It's one of the most beautiful.
Big.
Yeah. Oh, everything's big. That's it there.
Wow.
That's a model of it.
So is that built already?
Yeah. This was the Narcissi Hotel. Shah Rukh Khan was there.
Okay.
For the fight, he stayed in that suite.
All right.
That I was in there. And then this is Neo. This is where
So
the building.
it's all a building process.
Oh yeah. Nothing's
Like, can you see the groundworks at the moment? Or...
No, they're putting the infrastructure in for the infrastructure.
Okay, yeah,
So
like
they've
the
put in.
motorways and
So they've put in things like they built an airport
yeah.
in 35 days.
Okay.
They built Neom Airport, this airport here, in 35 days.
Mhm.
They built this hospital, one of the foremost hospitals, in 6 months. And this is all for the workers that are going to build.
Yeah.
So it's like we're putting all it. So if you get in there now, you're ahead of the curve. So this is ground zero of Dubai.
Yeah.
Right? 20 years ago, 30 years ago in Dubai, this is
Yeah.
what it looked like.
Yeah.
Right? So the roads are in, but this is like if you look at these places and spaces, and we've got relationships with honestly, we cut through. This would have taken 3 years of potential relationships. What we managed to do in 10 days. You know, this guy's from Scotland. He's built the hospital. He's looking for other partnerships because they've got like 42 hospitals and primary cares that are going to build. So they've currently, as of today, they've got a 65% deficit in everything. So they need 65% more of everything to satisfy what they're doing now. And by 2030, which is the tipping point where they're going to shut all the doors, they're going to not look outside, and they're going to now, everyone will have to come to them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But their policies are amazing. So this is where me being stood here in a year's time, this will all be built up.
It's unbelievable.
Right? There's obviously camels, there's and the beauty of the natural history. So Tabuk, I went to the first mosque that Prophet Muhammad went and read after he converted.
So that's in where? Tabuk.
Tabuk. They stopped off.
Still there.
Still there. And the museum there. And I've got like all of the. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a few blogs with all of the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
I've took videos, pictures of everything that exists. But honestly, for me to say the opportunities here are just. I still haven't had the time or the opportunity to digest them. But they need everything.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing, they need it. There's billions of pounds worth of contracts, billions of pounds that we've got access to for everything, for food, catering, infrastructure, engineering. Like if you've got anything that anybody needs, they need it. Mm-hmm. But they're being really careful around how and what they do. So that was
amazing.
A short.
I mean, it is it's going to be well when they focused and the amount of wealth that they have in reserve and even in the government.
They're talking about they're like, oh yeah, our PIF investments $1 trillion. We're going to take it to 3 trillion.
I think they're talking about 10 trillion.
But as in the next year,
yeah,
it's like these are their goals,
yeah.
Right? And the businesses that so they've got PIF have got 80 businesses, and they're all either a billion. They've already got to a billion, or they're going to get to a billion. That's their criteria. So you can imagine Newcastle United will be £1 billion football club. Why would they invest in it?
Yeah.
You know, is the thing. So I mean, that's the exciting thing. We're ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
And if you imagine what happened in Manchester City, if you imagine what's happened anywhere else,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. Yeah. And people are, you know, rightly sort of, you know, cautious. However, I disagree with them. Having been there, seen it, and seen the modernization and the welcome and the hospitality, and the I had a few conversations, right, and they were people perceived them to be arrogant. Sometimes, you know, the Saudis are very arrogant, and they're not. They just don't tolerate other people criticizing them. And why should they? Why should they go, all right, yeah, please criticize the way of our lives or our culture or whatever it is? I mean, the flip side is gosh, we live in a society, a community where it's all right to get drunk, to fall down, to damage your health, to do all of these things that are really, really bad for you. And we promote that as a way of life. And we think that's all right. It's anyway. You know, so my point isn't to get into the politics. My point is, look, if it's going to create jobs and opportunities for our region, then I'm all for it. I'm purely for it. And you know, people do business with people, so you develop those relationships, you develop that understanding. You have the red lines, you have the sort of the yellow, and the ones that you go, all right, well, actually, let's start exploring things. Let's educate one another. Let's develop a relationship. That's what it's all about. But honestly, I was like, you know, Newcastle, Zindabad, Northeast, yeah. And people probably, the people around me got sick of me because they were all talking about individual institutes or their own businesses. I was talking about the Northeast as a region. I'm like, you know, Tees Valley, we've got this. Yeah, that's that. It's like anyway, it's great. It's so we need to go. I'm potentially going to go back out in a few weeks. If not, then I'm going at the end of January. Is what I will do.
Brilliant.
So
Well,
you'll be coming with me.
book me a ticket, because it would be great to go and explore. I know that the vision they have is going to change the compass in the Middle East, but it's amazing how they're building cities.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much, you know, it's going to cost, but it's going to cost huge amounts of money, but with a view to attracting people from all parts of the world and a lot of Europeans as well, because they've already announced that they want it to be the new Europe, haven't they?
Oh, and I don't doubt any of it.
Yeah, I think one thing for sure, when you do go away to the Middle East countries, whether it be Qatar or Abu Dhabi, Dubai, the level of infrastructure, the conditions of the metro, the trains, the airports, and the cleanliness and the sophistication of all of it, it's actually poignant that it's a much higher level than what we experience here in the UK, which we never thought would be possible. But it is, because they've obviously got the money and the ability to do things at a really high standard and maintain it, man, keep it clean and all of those things. Because
it is sort of built. I mean, look, they've been sadly subject to corruption and things like that, right? But I mean, I went to the hotel, the Ritz-Carlton. It was ridiculous, and that was where he locked all of the princes in. Said, I'm not doing corruption anymore. They've got a metro line that should have gone live, and this is all public knowledge, right? People have just gone there and took advantage of them, sadly, for years, right? To the point whereby the metro line, 60% of it was corruption. 60% of the cost. So he's addressing all of these things, and it's great to see. But my point being is, they are doing all of these things. They are making it better. There is all of these opportunities and the investment and everything else. And people, now everything's transparent. Who's got the contract? Everything's on a display. When they got it, who the subcontractors are, what date they have to deliver, and they don't care. You will have to deliver. So that's why everybody's now going, oh my gosh, it's changed. If you imagine 40, 50 years of here's as much as you want. Oh, does it happen? Oh, don't worry. Yeah, here's some more money. Here's some more money. Here. And now someone's gone, I'm not letting you abuse my country anymore.
Yeah.
And honestly, from an experiential perspective, so opposite this stadium where they had the fight, they've got the world, and they've got like mini Disneylands with themes and out of this world. You've never experienced anything like it. They've gone, all right, that's really good there. I want you to do it 100 times better. They're doing things they don't know how to do. So the vision is we want to go to the moon. We don't know how we're going to get there. So when JFK said, I'm going to put a man on the moon, no one had been to the moon. And that's what they're doing. And that's why Jolla and our innovation framework is perfect. There was this business topic of the week, Jeff, but I think we're going to run out of time.
It's covered quite a lot of business topics.
Yeah.
We've got a minute to go.
We have. So we've got the Curry Club. If you're looking for networking, the business topic of the week is get out, network, meet people, but set clear objectives, be genuine, always be courteous, and follow up. Key tips for networking is what it's all about. And if you're interested in developing your network and extending your net worth, because it's all about who you know, come along to the Curry Club on the 23rd of November, where we'll see Jaff and Kai signing up to the Armed Forces Covenant, because I know that Dabawal did that a few years back, and Jaff will be signing up Kai as well. And we'll be encouraging various others to come along. And it's at Kingston Park. You can check it out on the website, abconnections.org, ABC-Curry Club. Inclusion as an innovation workshop is happening at the end of January. If you're interested, please reach out. And until next week, it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
We'll be back. When's the next football match, Jeff?
25th of November. Newcastle against Chelsea, I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
At home?
At home. And then the next one after that is the 28th, which is PSG away.
Are you going?
No. Too many bed bugs in Paris.
In Paris.
I don't want to bring them back.
Yeah. And then when's the next one?
I think it's probably going to be
when's the next home game? 25th.
Rice FM 98.8 FM.
Rishi Sunak is under pressure to sack Suella Braverman after she defied Downing Street by publishing an article accusing the police of bias over protests. Her comments in recent days have